Okay, everyone, welcome back to Breslov Efrat here in Uman, Baruch Hashem. I wish everyone a Shvua Tov and a good Vach, right? And I hope everyone had a wonderful Shabbos. And we're getting ready for Rosh Hashanah, Baruch Hashem. Atem Nitzavim Ayoim Kulchem, right? We're all here, Baruch Hashem. Okay, we were learning L'chut Halachos, but again with Siyata D'Shmaya always. And we're learning Hilchas B'siyat Zapatz. B'siyat Zapatz means breaking the bread. When you break the bread, Hilchas Negei after the Suda itself. When you have your Suda, all right. So we were learning this idea based on lesson 8 in L'chutei Moharan, the second part of L'chutei Moharan, that the whole idea is we're not supposed to enjoy things of this world for the sake of the enjoyment of it. Right? We're supposed to connect everything of this world to the next world. Right? Notice we're not supposed to just have enjoyment for things in this world. And how do we connect things to the next world? By making a bracha. Right? So that's why Chazal instituted that we make brachas on everything that we do. So that way we're connecting the next world with this world. The bracha is is lofty, and the food is down here. We're connecting the alma, the asi, to the world, the alma, this physical world down here. It's called the Dari Mala, Dari Mata. Right? We connect the Dari Mala together with the Dari Mata. Okay, so that's what we were learning about, and the beautiful thing that on Shabbos it's not like that. Shabbos, the whole idea is to enjoy. Right? Shabbos, the whole idea is tanugim, to have tanug. You have to enjoy the Shabbos. You have matamim on Shabbos. If you don't have that during the week, and when it's during the mundane, you eat. You can enjoy your food, but you want to make the bracha, and you want to always eat for the sake of being able to serve Hashem. I mean, it's not the food itself. I'm eating. I need to eat. When Hashem made it, that we have to eat. Also, Hashem made the food beautiful. Right? The foods. We have beautiful fruits and beautiful vegetables, and the colors are beautiful. They have beautiful smell to them. They taste delicious. Hashem wants us to enjoy these things. There's no question about that. In other words, we're supposed to see the beauty in things, but realize it's Hashem. Always remember it's Hashem. Remember HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's not for the sake of eating the thing itself. There's a famous story that I'll just say right now. There's a very famous story to help understand this what we're saying here. There was one time there was a Hasidic Rebbe in a town, and there was one misnagid. A misnagid, someone that doesn't appreciate Hasidus, okay? And he was traveling, this misnagid. It happened to be that for a couple of days he'd have to end up in this town. He dreaded it. He dreaded the fact that he's going to have to be with Hasidim for a couple of days. Why would I want to be with us, Okay, so the first morning he gets to shul. He has to daven. So he davens, and he sees the Rebbe in the front, puts on his talis, and he puts on his tefillin, and he davens. And he also puts on his talis, and he puts on his tefillin. He's davening. Okay, so far, same thing. And then after davening, he sees the Rebbe sits down, takes out an apple and a knife, and he cuts up the apple. And he makes a very pretty, and he eats the apple. Great. I can also eat an apple. What's the difference? The Rebbe of me? What's the difference? So the next morning, he went to the market, and he bought himself an apple in a little bag. And he finished after they finished davening. He figured, okay, I'll sit down, I'll cut up my apple, I'll eat my apple. The Rebbe calls him up. Before he gets a chance to take out his apple, the Rebbe calls him up. He says, "Come here." So the Rebbe says to him, you're right. You daven and I daven. You have a talis and I have a talis. And you eat an apple and I eat an apple. But we eat an apple for different reasons. He says, I eat the apple so I can make the bracha. You can't make a birchas nenin. You can't make birchas nenin unless you have something. He wants to be able to make that bracha. He can't make the bracha unless he eats something, and then he's able to make the bracha. But you want to eat the apple, and therefore that's why you're making the bracha. I want to make the bracha. I can only make the bracha if I eat the apple. You want to eat the apple, and therefore you have to make the bracha. See the difference? So the question is, do we understand the thing to connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? And that's the whole point. Always remember HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So we were in the middle of this idea in Hilchas Betzias Apatz. Everyone that's following along inside, we're in Halacha Beis, and we're up to here. V'ata nochei mi'oid masha matzinu kama brachos protis u'berachos v'heim chashubas yosim mi'brachos klolius. Okay, so now, when you're making brachas, there's a seder in the brachas of what's in the more important brachas. Any bracha that defines, a defining bracha that defines more, there's more definition in what you're saying in the bracha, it takes precedence over another bracha. Right? For example, if you're making a boiri hamaitzi lechem min haaretz lechem, if you're making a boiri pri hagofen, we're discussing wine, bread. Okay, or if you're going to make the lowest bracha, is really the shahakol, because the shahakol is Hashem made everything. It's very general. It's a very general bracha. Even if you make a regular ha'etz, Hashem made boiri pri ha'etz, all the fruits of the tree. And then you can make boiri pri adama, so it's also has some defining the fruits of the ground, but it's all the fruits. But there's two brachas that are very unique, which is really hamaitzi lechem min haaretz and boiri pri hagofen. Right, because those two are really defining what you're actually making the bracha on. That's what we're going to focus on now. Okay, here we go. So the Nassim is asking, wait a second. Shulchan Aruch says this is what we just discussed, right? So the question is why? If I'm making a bracha, well, what's the difference? If I'm making a general bracha or I'm making a specific bracha, what would be the difference? Who cares? In other words, I'm still saying Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam. Okay, great. So I'm addressing Hashem. He's the King of the world. Okay, so it's not so defining. But really, what is the difference? So now we're going to discuss that. But what we learned before, now we're going to explain from what we learned Erev Shabbos. We're going to explain this idea now. Here we go. Whenever you're making a bracha on something more specific, right? Whenever you're making a bracha, you're more defining what Hashem made. You're defining the oneness of Hashem, how unique, how Hashem is. He makes things individually. He does very individual, defining the oneness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He explains now. How there are so many different things. Hashem makes all the different things in the world, all the different types of foods, all the different types of drinks, and all the things that we have, everything. It's all goes back to Hashem. But look how HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the French, he makes such differentiation between all the different things. It's beautiful to see how the variety of things that we have in the world. Okay, the variety. I think that's a good word to use for this. Okay, dimsa. Shekol ma'ashem mevorach and al kol davar protei hamiyuchad. So whenever you make a bracha on something very unique, yoisen is gala yoisa achdas hapashi yisbarach. So then you're defining more the oneness of Hashem, because he not only does he make all different. He made this thing. Oh, he made this thing. He made this. He made that. You're giving more credit to Hashem rather than just a blanket statement. Right? When you start to define the things within the blanket statement, it becomes more precious. Would you agree with that?
Totally.
Okay. Because you're showing Hashem all the different things that Hashem makes, but you're doing it in a way to define with showing how HaKadosh Baruch Hu does everything himself. Ki ikar chashivas is galas aklas hapashit Yisbarach Hu daika kitchen is galam bepulis mishtanes. Because the more you can identify, the more you identify the oneness of Hashem, the more you can identify and pinpoint the different things Hashem is doing, the greater you show Hashem is. That He's a general God. No, HaKadosh Baruch Hu He's involved in each little nuance. That's Hashgacha Pratis. He's involved in every single nuance of every single person's life.
That way, when you're expressing gratefulness, you shouldn't just say, I'm grateful for having children. You name the children.
You can name your children and why, look how nice my children, and look what they're doing. You define the thing.
Define it.
The more you define it, the more you show the greatness and show the gratitude to Hashem. Okay, v'al kain kol ma Hashem epulis mishtanes bepratius b'yoser. Therefore, whenever there's more things there's a bigger variety. Yaakov v'choshev Yosef kishin is gali gam mehem achdusay Yisbarach. So that's why if you have a few different things to eat, right? That's why Chazal instituted, right? When you have a few different things to eat, you want to take you have, let's say, grape juice. So you want to make the bracha, let's say, on the grape juice faster than you want to make the bracha on the fruit, right? Because the fruit is a general bracha, but the grape juice is this.
You say that's faster.
Quick, make first. Make the bracha on that. Why? Because that is more there's more defining in that. And then you can make the other brachas. Does Hashem makes individual, but He takes care of everything also. That's why Chazal instituted the order of brachas and how we do it. Nimsa Shem Mevorchim Bechlal Shakol Niya Bidvoroi Ein Abracha Chashuva Kol Kach Kemay Abracha Shem Mevorchim Adav Prati Kigoin Bari Priagafen. Rav Nosson explains to us when you make the bracha Shakol Niya Bidvoroi, Hashem makes everything. Shakol Niya, everything was made based on Hashem's word. He gave His word and He made everything. It's beautiful, and halavai the world should appreciate that. Right? How Levi people should appreciate that Hashem was the one that made everything. But for us that we're making brachas and we understand Hashem, for us, that's a general bracha. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful bracha. Let's not we're not knocking the bracha. We're not knocking the bracha. But we're just trying to understand the Seder, why Chazal said that the bracha shakol is lower on the list. It's lower on the list. That's the reason. Okay, but it's on the list. That's the main thing. It's on the list. Okay, ki al yedei brecha shahakol ein nisgala kol kach perish bechinas achdus haposhel Yisbarach mipulos mishtanes. You're not really defining with the bracha shahakol. You're not defining anything specific that Hashem has created. You're defining a general creation. May acha Hashem mevorchin al kol habriya bichlal, because you're making a bracha on the whole briya, on all of creation. But if you're making a bracha on something specific, because you're showing the different variety of things that Hashem made and how different Hashem makes everything, but yet everything is still made by Hashem, but you're defining that Hashem made all these different pratim. Bracha shahakol he ketana b'mala mibrachas pratius, and therefore the bracha shahakol is the lowest on the list of brachas because it's just a general bracha. Again, it's a beautiful bracha. We're not knocking the bracha shahakol, but on the list of brachas, that one takes the less. It has the less chashivas. Because it's just a general bracha, it's not defining anything specific that Hashem made. Okay, we got that so far? We know that the chokhmah is mechaya hakol. The more chokhmah you have, it gives you more. The Rebbe said, we learned the last time that what defines an Adam, a person that has das of Hashem. A person doesn't have das of Hashem, then he's not considered a person. He may look like a person, but he's not a person. The more chachma you have, the more the knowledge of Hashem, that gives you, okay. The more you have more das, the more das you have, the more important the person is, right? The more chashav the person is, because he has more das. That's why you take a Talmud Chacham, you take a tzaddik. The tzaddik is more important. Why? Because he has more das, he has more connection to Hashem. Anyone that has more connection to Hashem, you give more chashivas to. Right? We understand that, right? Okay. And then it's connecting this also to the idea that when it comes to the brachas, it's the same idea. Again, the more das that's in the bracha, the more das that you're putting in to explain about HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the more das you have in that bracha, that's the one you give the more chashivas to. Same with people and some everything else. Because it's so important, that's why they made specific brachas, because of their importance. The thing that has more das in it, more das of Hashem, more recognition of Hashem, that's more das. The more you define and understand Hashem, that's more das. So that's why they made the bracha on this Bayri Priya Gofen. We learned the halacha like this. If you are sitting down and you have a glass of grape juice, and you have a cup of coffee, and you have a soda, and whatever, you have a glass of orange juice. Okay? So now, if you make the Borei Pri Hagofen, you do not make the shahakal on the other drinks. The Borei Pri Hagofen covers all the shahakals. The same idea that if you wash on bread, because bread has so much das in it. We're going to learn about that. Bread has 10 different mitzvahs connected to bread. There are 10 different mitzvahs when it comes to making bread. Did you know that? Right? You have to plow and plant, and you can't have kalayim. And then you have to do ketzira. You have the ma'aser rishon, ma'aser sheni, ma'aser ani. Right? And you can't, when you're plowing, you can't have the chamor together with the shor. Right? And then you have to, and there's so many different mitzvahs when it comes to making bread that it's fascinating. There's so much involved when it comes to making bread, more than anything else. That's why there's so much das in bread. That's why when you wash to eat bread, the bread that bracha covers all the other things of your suda, because there's so much das in the idea of the bread itself. That's why all the other things are absolved from brachas, except for gofen. Right? You washed. You washed. It's a Tuesday night. You sit down to eat. You're in a restaurant, right? And you sat down. You washed, and you're eating your meal, and then they bring you over a glass of wine. So what do? Oh, wine's not included in the hamaitzi. So you have to make a borei pri hagofen, right? Did you know that?
Even if it's at the table, even if the wine's on the table,
doesn't matter. That's not cover. Doesn't cover with the hamotzi. That's something unique, because again, this das in the bracha of the bread can cover everything else, but there's more das when it comes to wine. And when we see the difference, we see the similarity between wine and bread, because the wine can also pater you on all the drinks, on all the other shahakals, all the other drinks, right? The same way the bread, when you wash, the bread also patters you on all the other foods. So there's a similarity between the two brachas. A lot of people don't know that.
Also, the process for making the wine is very complicated.
Very complicated also. There we go. That's similar to the bread.
Yeah.
Where was it? I didn't hear.
The process to make wine is also a little more complicated, right? Than to make a glass of orange juice. Right? It takes more effort. Okay.
You have to jump around a lot.
What?
You have to jump around a lot on the grid.
Yeah. Okay. V'adas hu ha'olam haba ki ze ikar ha'olam haba dahainu ladas oisa yizbarach l'heides l'varach oisa yizbarach. And we said that we want to connect ourselves always to olam haba. In olam haba, what do? Emetz Hashem, we're going to praise and thank Hashem. We're going to realize the greatness of Hashem. We're going to experience it. But we're trying to experience Olam Haba in this world also. How do you experience Olam Haba in this world? When you make your bracha and you recognize Hashem and you thank Hashem. By a thanking Hashem is similar to what we do in Olam Haba. So you can do that in this world. We can experience Olam Haba in this world. That's why Shabbos is a me'ein Olam Haba, right? They say Shabbos is a taste of Olam Haba. Because on Shabbos we're not doing anything else. We sing, we eat, and we praise Hashem. That's what Shabbos is about. That's why it's Olam Haba. The things that we do in Olam Haba. We praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu, thank Hashem. That's what we're doing on Shabbos. That's why Shabbos is a me'ein Olam Haba. It's a taste of Olam Haba. Right? Got it? Okay. Now, and therefore anything that has more das in it, more das, more recognition of Hashem, right? Who nichlal b'yosef b'olam haba. Oh, so that's more connected to Olam Haba. That has more das, recognition of Hashem in the world. The more recognition of Hashem, oh, that's considered more like Olam Haba, because in Olam Haba we recognize and we give credit to Hashem for everything. So the more we have something, when we have something in this world, and we make the bracha, and we make that bracha, and we define HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so that's the same idea of Olam Haba in this world. So therefore we want to make the bracha that's chashuv more than a bracha that's more general. Right? That's why we're going to give more credit. Now we're explaining why do we give more credit to the brachas that are more defining. Because that's, again, more compared to what we do in Olam Haba. There's more definition recognized, the more recognition of Hashem. In this world today, we're happy if people could just recognize Hashem altogether. Right, and that's the status that we're at now. But we're just trying to appreciate this idea through brachas. Okay, the more you could recognize Hashem and Hashem's actions, and how everything in the world is being performed exactly how Hashem wants it, and that's what we can connect to the world today. Right? In other words, all the things that go on in the world, we try to blame this politician, that one, it's this government, it's that government. It's not. It's all the Rabbeinu Shalom pulling the strings. It's all Hashem doing every little unify. Anything that goes on in this world is only happening because that's the Ratzon of Hashem. It's all Hashem. Now you have to ask yourself, why does Hashem want it? What are we doing wrong that Hashem is causing this? And how do we do tshuva? It's Erev Rosh Hashanah, so it's a good time to make, to do introspection and to figure out what are we doing wrong and make rectifications for the things that we're doing wrong, right? We want to take this unified thing, this pratiistic thing, and we want to bring it to connect it to Olam Haba. To be included also in the Achdusa Yisbarach, in the oneness of Hashem. Include everything back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ki hakol toli b'das, it's all dependent on das. The more information you have, it's understandable, right? The more information you have, the more you have to what to use, more material you have to use in order to be successful, right? It's all dependent on the das. Shakol ma shebadas yoyse gadol mesigin biyoyse achdusa yapash yizbarach nichla biyoyse plus mishtanes bepratis achdusa yaprati yizbarach. So again, now we understand this idea. That's why when it comes to the Seder HaBrachas, when we have a bracha that's more defining Hashem, that's more das. Oh, that's more considered that we have in Olam Haba. Also, I want to bring Olam Haba into this world. Why we bring Olam Haba in this world? Because we learned that we want to always bring the Alma Da'asi into this world. We want to mend the worlds together. We don't want it to be the Olam, the upper world and the lower world, and they're separate. No, we want to bring them together. We learned that's why when we say Kadosh, 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 right? We say Kadosh 3 times. Kadosh, one Kadosh is for the Olam Da'asi, that's the high, the upper world. The other Kadosh is for this world down here. And the third Kadosh is bringing the two worlds together, bringing the worlds together. right? That's what we learned in benching also. That's the 3 brachas of benching, right? The first bracha was instituted by Moshe Rabbeinu, right? The second bracha was instituted by Yeshua, and the third bracha was instituted by Shlomo Melech and David HaMelech, right? So you have Moshe Rabbeinu is the Dorei Mala. Of course, Moshe Rabbeinu is connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yeshua is he's connecting the Dorei Mala together with the Dorei Mata. And then you have, of course, David and Shlomo Melech and David HaMelech. They're in this world with the Beis Hamikdash, with Yerushalayim. They're in this world, and that's bringing it together. We do that in benching also. Okay, so that's what we're trying to always do. We're trying to connect the 2 worlds together. So when we make the bracha, we're trying to connect Olam Haba to this world. We're trying to connect the other world via making the bracha with more das. The more das that I have, the more information I have of Hashem, and I can define Hashem in the thing. So that's more definitive, more connected to what it's going to be in Olam Haba, that we have the situation in Olam Haba. So that's why we do it like that. Okay, now we're going to decide. Now this is the importance of both bread and wine. Bread and wine. Shehem chashuvim mikol. They are more important than everything else. So if you can have your Suda, bread, and a glass of grape juice, that's the best Suda you can have. Because again, you're making 2 brachas that define Hashem the greatest. Hamaitzi lechem min aretz. So lechem, Hashem made the bread. It's you, Hashem, that made the bread. It's not the baker. It's not the the delivery guy that brought me the bread. It's not it's all you, Hashem. And the grape juice also, remember, it's all HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So this is the greatest das. Okay, ki alechem hu bechinas das kamuva k'may because of lechu lachmu belachmi. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says in Mishlei, right? In Mishlei, Shlomo Melech writes, lechu lachmu belachmi. If you don't have your bread, use my bread, Hashem says. Include your bread with my bread. He'll explain. 1 second. It's beautiful. And bread is only if it has 5. It's from the 5 different grains, right? There are 5 different grains, right? And bread is only something that you make from the 5 different grains. Why is it 5 different grains? Bechinas hay. It's connected to hay. What's the idea of hay? Hay is the das. Hay hayadiyah. Hay hayadiyah. Hay is the das. It's defining. Hay defines something. Does it not? In Hebrew, you want to say ha something. It defines that thing. So hay is the hay hayadiyah. So again, recognizing the das of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's why it's 5 different grains. Again, to recognize the das of Hashem in the bread. Recognize HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the bread. Rabbi Nachman writes that in lesson 53. And therefore, because the bread is so important, we brought the lechem together with the carbon toda. What's the carbon toda? Thank you. The carbon toda is the thank you carbon, where you say thank you to Hashem. Toda. What would you say in Hebrew? You want to say thank you to someone. What do you say? Toda. Right? Why? And this is called the carbon toda. Thank you. It's the thank you carbon. Oh, and with the thank you carbon, we brought bread. Well, why did we don't bring bread with anything else. Oh, so now we see the thank you is connected to bread. Das. And say thank you to Hashem. Hey, watch, he's going to explain. This is amazing.
That's the only carbon that's bread.
Yes.
There's left of it.
Yeah. Toda is an aspect of Olam Haba. Again, thanking Hashem. Oh, thanking Hashem. More das. The das of Hashem. Thanking Hashem is Olam Haba. Ki kol hakabonos b'telim chutz min hatoda. When Mashiach comes, all the karbanos, Chazal tell us, will be nullified. We won't have all the other karbanos. All the different karbanos, the shlamim and the chatas and the oila and the asham and all the karbanos, they're going to be batal. We won't need them. But what we'll have, we will have carbon toda. The carbon toda, it will always remain. Tahainu shelo yishar rak lohaydos lahalal oisi yisbarach b'chinas taida. The only thing that'll remain is to thank and praise Hashem. The same way it is in Olam Haba. That's why when Mashiach comes, it's an aspect of Olam Haba. So therefore, the same way in Olam Haba, we're thanking and praising Hashem. So therefore, when Mashiach comes, in this world, we can cancel out all the other kabbalas, but we're going to keep the carbon toda because that is connected to Olam Haba. Makes sense? It's beautiful, right? To understand that, right? Okay, the Al-Kain, and we're just going to finish this up now. The Al-Kain. And therefore the bracha on bread is more choshev than anything else. It's the highest on the list, right? If you have different things, you'll make the bracha hamaitzi first. You make the bracha hamaitzi like when we make kiddush, right? When we make kiddush, we don't. We make kiddush first. We make kiddush. Why? Because that's a high das, and again, we want to be mekadesh hakodesh. When we mekadesh the Shabbos, and we use the wine on that. But you should know you could make kiddush on challah also. If you didn't have wine, you could make kiddush on the challah. You can if you didn't have wine. If you didn't have wine, and if you see the same connection of challah with the wine, okay. V'nikba loy bracha beprotis ki birchas halechem hu bechinas lachmei ha'atoida, because the bracha of the lechem is like the lechem from the toda. So it's the same idea of saying thank you. That's why with the carbon toda there was bread included. Shu carbon choshev shu levad yishor la'aseh. That's the only one that will remain in the time when Mashiach comes. Please Hashem, send Mashiach quickly and speedily in our day. Wine is also important, and they also establish a specific bracha on it. Wine and spice, what do you call it? Besamim. It makes a person's wise. Pikichin. It opens up the person's mind. Right, so that's why a lot of times people like to make the bari meaning misamim. Again, that's also a bracha that defines, right? Bari meaning misamim. Oh, you make different kinds of spices, right? It's spices. You're defining something else, right? And we learned the difference why when we make the when there's no after bracha when we make the idea of besamim. Why there's no after bracha after besamim? Right? You can smell all different spices because besamim is the whole idea of the das. It brings you to the das. It brings you to the knowledge. You recognize Hashem so much with besamim, so you don't have to remember Hashem after because you got it. You got that level with the das itself. And why is that so unique? Because at the Chet Eitz Das Tovara, right, with Adam and Chava, they used 4 of the 5 senses. We have 5 senses. They used 4 of the 5 senses. The scent of smell. Doesn't say that they smelled the fruit. So the scent of our scent is still the one that's the most pure of all of our senses, because it wasn't involved in the Chet Adam, and that's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, when we say in the morning, we say, Haneshama shenefachta bi. HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends the neshama, blows it in through the nose. Right, because the nose is still pure. The nose is the pure one. Okay, if you merit this when you drink wine, so then you'll become a roish. If not, you become the zana. Right, it's no good. Right, if a person drinks wine, like we know the Chazal say, nichnas yayin yotza soid. Right, the person drinks wine, then the secrets of the person come out. Right. When you drink wine, the person starts to talk. He has his defenses down, so he really speaks the true person that he is when he has his wine, right? And if you see a person's a Torah scholar, when he gets drunk, the Torah scholar will be talking about Torah, will be speaking about Hashem. If you find another guy that's not involved in Torah and he's involved in all the other taivas of the world, when he becomes drunk, it's stay away from him, right? It's not going to be nice, the things he's going to be talking about, right? Again, the idea here, when you drink the wine, again, wine is special because they make the bari priyagaf and gives me that das, okay? Nase roish of the moichin kamu b'makei makra, And that's so we finished now this idea of Hilchas B'tzias Hapas Baruch Hashem, but now we can understand and we can appreciate why there are differences in the Seder of Birchas Nenin, in the Brachas of Nenin, why we have all these different type of brachas, and they have there's a list of priority of which bracha goes which one goes first. Of course, Hamaitzi Lechem Menares, Bari Priya Gofen go first, because those are the one. Then you make a Bari Priya Eitz, because the Bari Priya Eitz is more defining than Bari Priya Dama, because then you're talking about the trees. Right, Bari Priya Dama is lower than Bari Priya Eitz, right? Because you're saying just the general Priya Dama, right? Here you're talking about Eitz, so you're defining trees, not just the Adama, right? And Adama is lower than the Bari Priya Eitz, and the lowest bracha is the Shahakal, because it's just a general bracha, right? So then now we understand the importance, because there's more das, the more you define Hashem, there's more das. More das. The more das is connecting us more to Olam Haba. Now we understand the importance of why we make the brachas, why wine and bread is different, and why we make those brachas. We give the chashivas because there's more das in it. Any questions?
Yes.
Yes, what's that?
I'll ask the obvious question.
What's the question?
Wine, bread. They're really almost at the same level.
Okay, because again we said bread has 10 different mitzvahs to it.
And wine has fewer mitzvahs.
Fewer mitzvahs to it. Fewer mitzvahs in bread.
We choose on Erev Shabbat wine, bread.
Oh, because Chazal instituted that you can use the wine to make to be mekadesh to Shabbos. We're going to use the wine, and then that's what they. But again, like we said, you can use the bread, because they're both on a very, very high level. The wine and the bread are on a very, very high level. They both have that special das in them. Although Chazal decided that we're going to use grape juice or wine for the Kiddush, and that's what we do. Okay? But they're both very, 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 very important.
But in essence, we could say because of the number of mitzvot, bread could be higher than wine.
Huh? By food and drinks. Yeah, good, excellent. By drinks. By drink. Well, we said that because if you have like we said, if you have the Bari Priya Gofen, covers you on all the shahakos, right? All the shahakos. You don't have to make any shahakal, any other drink that you want to drink. The same way with bread. When you make that much, it covers all the food. So very good. Shkoya. Very, very good, very good. Yeah, we spoke about it, but it's very good. It was a very good answer.
Can you quickly tell again why when we score the bread, we look for the darkest part of the bread to score?
Yes, okay. So when we break the bread, we wanted, we learned about that.
Yeah.
Okay. The whole idea is to have Yiras Hashem. Like Yiras Hashem. Fire is connected with Yiras Hashem. A person sees a fire, he becomes a little. You feel a sense of fear when you have a fire, right? It can burn, it can destroy, right? So when we understand, so when we see the fire that the bread that touched the bread, that's where it was darker. Brings me to Yiras Hashem, brings me to fear Hashem. And that's why we want to bring in the fear, because when we fear HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's the greatest chachma, Yiras Hashem.
So we look for the part of the challah that
has wherever bread or the challah, whatever it is, that has the darker part. And when we learned from the Arizal says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu everything has a nefesh in it. There's a soul in everything. There's a soul in bread also. So the Arizal says HaKadosh Baruch Hu makes it that wherever the soul of the bread is, that's where it'll get a little bit darker. That's where it'll get a little bit darker. And therefore, when you do the B'tzias Hapas, when you break the bread, dip the bread 3 times in the salt on the darker part, so you make the tikkun for the nefesh in the bread. Fascinating, right?
I didn't get the last part. What did you do?
Okay, one more time. When you have your bread, right? So you want to have the bread. You want to use the darker. You want it wherever it was a little well done. The part where it was a little bit more well done. You use that to make the bracha and eat that piece first. Because you want to make the bracha on the hamaitzi lechem in the haaretz, which is 10 words in the bracha. You know that? Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam hamoitzi lechem min haaretz. 10 words. 10 words. Can remember it to remember the 10 different mitzvahs that goes in bread.
So we put 10 fingers.
Then we have to have our 10 fingers on the bread. For the 10 words in the Brachah, for the 10 mitzvahs, right? Unbelievable, all the different beautiful things. Okay, so I wish everyone a wonderful day, and we should all hear B'sairis Tayvais. Thank you all for joining, and be well, we'll learn again. Okay, call 2.